Hospital projects. From decorations to clothing, we have all of your holiday essentials. Stop by and find the perfect gift today, and Merry Christmas from all of your Cozy Corner volunteers.
This is Public Pulse, your information and conversation program, brought to you by First Federal Bank and Trust. You can voice your opinion by calling 672-KROE. That's 672-5763. Now, your host for Public Pulse, Floyd Whiting.
Morning and welcome to Public Pulse, brought to you by First Federal Bank and Trust. I'm Floyd Whiting. According to the Veteran Outreach Incorporated, older veterans can sometimes become isolated from their family due to the inability to get around effectively. They might be unable to leave the VA hospital, a nursing home, or just be housebound, which can lead to severe depression. Veterans aged 55 to 74 have a higher rate of suicide compared to civilians of that same age group. Veterans aged 55 and older still represent the largest number of suicides among the veteran population. Younger veterans also face many different challenges during these holidays. They might still be trying to adjust to civilian life, and the holidays can add to that stress. Large crowds and lots of noise can also cause many to experience PTSD symptoms. Younger veterans might also have vivid memories of a specific date during the holidays during a past deployment. Veterans aged 18 to 34 have the highest increasing rate of suicide. And joining me this morning is the VA Healthcare System's Suicide Prevention Team Community Engagement Coordinator, Kayla Stevens, and Public Affairs Specialist, Trish Thompson. Good morning, ladies, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Floyd.
How are you guys doing? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was nice.
it was nice.
Lots of food.
Yeah. You guys go for like a more traditional type of Thanksgiving at the house?
I have no family here, so we did the, hey, single ladies, let's get
nice.
in one place
Thanksgiving.
and cook Thanksgiving food. So that worked out pretty nice.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Still had a great holiday.
Yeah, lots of food for 3 people.
Kayla?
That's good. Well, I have a 5-month-old baby and a 4-year-old.
Oh.
So our holiday is centered around our children. So, it was fun. It was good. We had lots of food, lots of things to be thankful for. So it was a great time.
Is tree up?
Trees up.
Trees
we
up.
have Elf on the Shelf, which she has changed her name a couple times. Right now we've landed on Jingle Bells and Heart.
Oh, nice. I
So
like it.
that's our morning. Where's the elf?
That's fun. That's something, that tradition came much later. So it's something that I never experienced and I never really picked it up. That's a newer one for me, but I think it's great. Kids walking around the house trying to find the elf every morning. And I love the memes where the elf is doing something a little naughty.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Those are really great. Now, the holidays are great. I mean, they
Yes.
really are. And it brings together family, friends, people of like-minded interest, downtown, having a good time together. But it can also be really hard on some individuals out there. As a veteran myself, I spent more than one holiday alone. And, I suffered from a major drinking problem for a long time. So that's what those holidays were.
Right.
They were me, a bottle, and music, and just depression that I look back on now and think, how the heck did I ever get through that? It's a tough time for a lot of people, isn't it?
It is. It's not the most wonderful time of year for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think, you hit on a good point. If you're alone during the holiday season, I think that's one of the loneliest times out of the whole year, because there's so much emphasis on being together and being with friends and family. And if you don't have that, you're already aware of that throughout the year, but especially during the holidays, if you don't have other people, I think it really hits a lot harder than any other time.
And unfortunately, when you suffer from an addiction,
Yes.
that can be almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where even if there is a seat for you somewhere, you drive yourself down. You know, you self-deprecate to the point where you're like, well, no one needs or wants me around. It's probably just best if I do stay away from the party
Right.
and stay here at the house or stay here at the center or wherever. Now, Kayla, I've always wondered, why choose this profession? You know, which you're an angel. I mean, honestly, dealing with individuals that sometimes at our lowest points, but why come down here with us?
You know, I think the biggest part is there's so much stigma surrounding mental health. And I think when people hear the words mental health or suicide prevention, they think of the negative side of things. And it's, you know, such a dark cloud conversation I think people prepare for. And so, yes, there are dark sides of it, but there's so much hope. And that's kind of what keeps me going in my job, is that there's hope. And to hear those people who have come through on the other side, been through some terrible places in their mind, some dark spots, and they come out on the other side and they're so thankful and so grateful to be alive, and to hear their stories and to know that I could be a little part of getting them through that. That's really what keeps me going and makes me so passionate about my job.
How do you take care of your own mental health when you're helping out?
That's always a great question. For me, a lot of my, I guess, trying to identify my warning signs. So if I notice I am starting to have disruptions in my sleep, which is kind of a tricky one with a 5-month-old. So I take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do just need a nap. But if I notice I'm, you know, feeling very fatigued, I really pick up on some of my warning signs. Or if I'm getting extra irritable, asking myself, what's that about? What's causing me this stress? And then knowing the ways that kind of recharge me and refill me is being around my family, being outside, going for walks, reading, just ways for me to kind of clear my mind. Because it's very important for people in a helping profession. If it's mental health, if it's healthcare, just some of these high intensity jobs that you have ways to unwind, because if you're not healthy yourself, you are not doing a service to anybody else.
Absolutely. It's one of those situations like the old put your mask on first type of situation,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
Make sure that you're all right first and then take care of the rest of us. 'Cause
Yeah.
without you, you know, if you start looking at me during therapy and saying, you know what, Floyd, you're right, then we've got a real serious issue.
Right. Yes.
Now, tell me about the season affective disorder. So this is
Yes.
actually like classified as a disorder,
Yes.
which looking back, I could see why, especially Father's Day. That one always hit me really hard. You know, usually you're either deployed or active in some form in the
Right.
National Guard during Father's Day. It's pretty
Right.
tough. It falls in that time period, but you miss a lot of activities.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, it's interesting you bring up Father's Day, because for some people who maybe didn't have the best relationship with their fathers, that in itself is a reminder. So it brings up some of maybe childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Maybe you have children yourself and you're not able to be with them. And so then it brings up some of those things that you're already experiencing. But then looking at, for Wyoming especially, some of the seasonal changes. So onset could be summer, spring. Onset typically for some of seasonal problems is fall, winter, especially for Wyoming when it gets dark. You know, it can be depressing when it's dark when you get up to go to work, and it's dark when you come home.
4:30. My gosh. Holy cow.
Exactly. And then on top of that, you have certain holidays that are already stressful. Thanksgiving and Christmas or whatever you celebrate is not always just a smooth, happy time. There's a lot of expectations that we put on ourselves. And with that comes a lot of stress. And so being aware, maybe you haven't noticed that I do get a little sad or depressed during the holidays. So seasonal affective disorder is a type of depression that is onset typically due to seasonal changes. And so some of that can be associated with the light change. And so there's a variety of different evidence-based, very effective treatment options. I think people typically think medication and psychotherapy, talk therapy. But there's actually a wide variety of treatment options like music therapy, art therapy, recreational therapy, things that you might not traditionally think of as treatment.
Yeah. I can remember talking to one doctor. There's now, acupuncture
Yes.
up at the VA,
yes.
which blows my mind. You think of the VA healthcare center, you think government healthcare, only things that have been vetted and really looked at. But we're exploring other options. And that's one thing that I've always appreciated about this. And I'll call it the new VA.
Right.
Because it wasn't always like this.
Sure.
But the new VA, after I'd say probably 2008, after I got home and a bunch of the other guys and girls who were over there with me during like the height of the conflict itself started coming back, the new VA started to embrace a lot of Eastern culture, a lot of Eastern belief. Maybe this Buddhism thing is onto something. It's not a religion. It is in a sense, but really it's a practice. So what if we focus on the mind from within as opposed to medication and things like that? And so I've always appreciated about that new movement that started around that time, because there are other options. One thing that I knew for sure, and this is horrible because it was something that I did on my own. I self-medicated.
Right.
I was a
lot of
drinker.
people do.
Right? So, but because of that, I'd sit back, no pills. I don't want any medications, and you hear people say that a lot up at the VA.
Right.
I don't want to have to take a pill every single morning. So we got to find an alternative to that. And so there are alternatives up
Right.
there. Now, when it comes to the sources of stress, financial, family stress, substance abuse.
Yes.
How do we talk a veteran or even just somebody who deals with this SAD, this seasonal affective disorder? How do we help them out when we can't really help things like financial,
Right.
Stresses? I wish I could. I wish I had enough money to give everybody, but I don't. So how do we help individuals like that?
I think one of the most important parts is just being genuine when you have a conversation with somebody. A lot of times it's just somebody who, not maybe vents the right word, but they want to talk about what's going on. They've been having these conversations with themselves, bouncing these thoughts around in their mind. Sometimes they just need a sounding board. And so being a safe person and saying, hey, I know things have been really stressful lately. Do you want to talk? And just allowing that person to talk and to listen. There's a lot of power in that. And validating that person's experience. Maybe they're saying, yeah, I haven't had a great time lately. Things have been really stressful. So I have issues with my car. And then I had to figure out, getting winter snow tires. And then my kid broke their arm. And then, I'm trying to work overtime, but then I never get to see my spouse. And so we're fighting there. And so letting them know that sounds really hard. I'm sorry you're going through that. Maybe asking, what can I do to help? And sometimes people say, you're doing it right now. This is making me feel so much better. I feel so much lighter just getting it off of my chest. And so being a safe person, but then also recognizing maybe that person sharing something that's a little bit more intense. They're saying, I've been really depressed. I've been drinking a lot. And when I've been drinking, I've been having thoughts of hurting myself. And so maybe you're recognizing this is a little bit above my expertise. And so that's kind of when we talk about the lifeline that's come out, the 988 number. So being aware of this is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I'm concerned. Let's talk about maybe other treatment options. I'll help you get there, because it can be really scary to imagine going into a clinical setting and talking about some of your deepest, darkest areas that you don't even want to think about. And then you're imagining, I'm going to have to go and hash this out and talk about this with somebody. I don't want to go do that. And so even having somebody to support you and say, I'll drive up there with you. I'll go to the VA. I'll sit in the waiting room. We can call 988 together, 988 press 1. I can call for you and let them know what's going on. It's just about meeting the person where they're at. I think you know that if you push somebody and they're not ready, you're going to get a lot of resistance.
I can be really spiteful. And I know a lot of other folks can as well.
Yeah.
You know, I can do this on my own. That was always kind of
Exactly.
my thing. I can do this alone. All I need is a bottle of booze and I'll get through today.
Right.
You know, like, and at the time, it just makes sense. This is just my life now. Looking back on it, you
Right.
know, it makes me shake my head, and it no longer invokes like feelings of guilt or anything like that. Just, I should have taken those steps before I
Right.
did. Where would I be if I hadn't? You know, I'm happy where I'm at, but where would I be if I hadn't just gone 14 years of just dumping it, you know, dealing with my issues like that? So in the past, I have tried to, I guess you could say, coax fellow veterans
Sure.
down to the VA. It can be tough, you know, even as someone who's gone into the system, uses the system, speaking from someone who's not going to lie to you about that system.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you it's good if it's not good.
Right.
You know, I'm going to make complaints, but being able to say, look, it's a different system now, guys. We can walk in there. It's okay.
Yeah.
They still have this tar on the bottom of their feet, and it's really slow getting them through the door. But it can be really, really tough, even speaking from my own personal experience, to get them to make that phone call.
Right.
So if there's a situation where I do genuinely feel this is bad,
Yeah.
but they're not taking action, what can I do?
I think that's a really tricky place to be in because you're worried probably, am I going to ruin my relationship with this person?
Right.
Or you're thinking, how, if I ask somebody outside of this relationship for help, if I call the Lifeline, or if I'm really concerned about them in this moment and I call for a health and welfare check, I call 911 and I think this person could actually hurt themselves, is it going to have a negative impact on them? So you have some of these thoughts that you're already having. I think what it comes down to is if you're that concerned, you know that you need to reach out and get help for them. If they are not at a place where they can help themselves, you're their safety net. You're the person who can do that. So one resource is 988 press 1 if you're a veteran. So you can call, and it's all anonymous if you want it to be. You're going to call, they're going to assess for your safety because it is suicide prevention lifeline. So they'll ask you multiple times, are you safe? Are you having thoughts of harming yourself? Once you assure them that you are safe and that you're calling for somebody else, you can give as much information as you want. So you don't have to give a name. You don't have to say where you're calling from. You can say, so here's the situation. I have a friend. They've been increasing their substance use. They've been talking about death and dying. I'm concerned. What do you think I should do? And they can give you a list of resources. They can ask you more in-depth questions. Has this person been talking about specific ways that they would harm themselves? And then if you think, yeah, this person needs help now, you can give them their information, their phone number, their address, whatever you want to give, and that responder can reach out on their end. And you can let them know, hey, when you call them, let them know that I was the one who called. Or you can say, I want to stay anonymous.
Yeah. Yeah. So then they'll make that phone call. They'll take that step for you.
Yeah.
And even if making those proactive phone calls saves just one,
Exactly.
it was all worth it.
Yeah.
It was all worth it.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will continue with the VA healthcare system. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Shared.
First Federal Bank and Trust is committed to our community.
Beginning in January, we'll be donating $1,000 cash each week for 52 weeks to a qualified Sheridan County nonprofit organization, and Sheridan Media will match that with a marketing budget.
First Federal is one of 2 mutual banks in Wyoming, which means they don't pay stockholders. They reinvest your funds right back into the place we call home. Visit efirstfederal.bank for details. Community commitment, presented by
First Federal Bank and Trust,
and Sheridan Media.
member FDIC.
Retirement planning. The good news is you don't have to do it alone. Whether you still have many years to save, are nearing retirement, or already retired, I can help you. Hello, I'm Jim and Chosby at Stiefel Investments in Sheridan, Wyoming. I can offer you innovative strategies tailored to your unique situation. Call me at Stiefel today at 307-672-3434. Stiefel Investments, member SIPC and NYSE.
The 25th annual Christmas Wish campaign continues, and every year our hearts are warmed by the generous spirit of our community. Here's another wish we'll be granting this year. It's for an amazing mother and person. This young lady struggles being a single parent of 3 children. She works so hard to make sure her children have what they need, but without the second income, will surely struggle. Anything that can be done to ease a little of her burden, and at Christmas time, would be wonderful. She would never ask for herself, so I want to nominate her. You can help. If you'd like to donate to the Christmas Wish, go to SheridanMedia.com, click on our Christmas Wish banner, and donate. That would be much appreciated. Thank you to our community partners, Atlas Chiropractic, First Federal Bank and Trust, Heartland Kubota, Advanced Auto Body, A-Line Roofing and Exteriors, Wyoming Corporate Office, and Odell Construction.
Max, did you know that I've not yet voted in the Sheridan Media Best Christmas Movie Bracket presented by Lee Heating and Cooling yet? When am I going to have time to vote? With everything else I have going on during this time of year, I'm so busy. I better make sure that I have time in my schedule to go online and vote. Let's see. 4 o'clock, wallow in self-pity. 4:30, stare into the abyss. 5 p.m., solve world hunger. Tell no one. 5:30, jazzercise. 6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. 7, wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked solid. If I bump the loathing till 8, I could still make my picks and be done in time to lay in bed, stare at the ceiling, and slip slowly into madness. Okay, go to SheridanMedia.com, go to the banner. Stupid computer won't let me vote. It's because I'm green, isn't it?
I should get to the gym a lot more. I really should.
That helped me. I had seasonal depression, and I didn't think I was going home for Christmas, and I had to have a friend voice it. That helped me,
Right.
Because they said, "I think you're depressed," and I'm like, "No," and then I got to thinking about it. No, I'm depressed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
That's how it works
sneaks
sometimes.
up on you, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
and I needed the gym, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing much better this year.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, situation's different. Good morning. Welcome back to Public Pulse. I'm Floyd Whiting. We're brought to you by First Federal Bank and Trust. Now, I am joined this morning. I got to find your titles here.
What's the title?
My paperwork is all over the place, but I am with the VA Healthcare System Suicide Prevention Team Community Engagement Coordinator,
Yes.
Kayla Stevens, and Public Affairs Specialist Cherish Thompson. This morning we're talking about is it seasonal or season? Seasonal affective disorder called SAD. It gets a little tough for veterans this time of year. It gets tough for everybody this time of year. But the only reason we really keep touching back on the veterans is you guys work at the VA Healthcare Center.
Right.
And it's just a whole lot to deal with as a veteran. I can speak from my point of view. We got lucky in Iraq. And while we were there, another unit picked up our missions for 2 weeks solid. So we were missionless for 2 weeks over the Christmas holiday.
Okay.
And I know that sounds good, but it was rough. It was rough.
Too much downtime.
Too much
Things.
downtime. You know, and you send the wrong image when you tell people, I hated being behind the wire. I hated it. I hated being on post for days at a time.
Yeah.
But it's because my mind then lingered on home and lingered on when are we going, and you know how it is with the military. We'll get you guys home in 2 weeks. 2 weeks comes and goes. 2 weeks,
Right.
2 more
Yep.
weeks. 2 weeks comes, and I mean that's the way it was. And even though in December we had no hope of going home for months and months, still it lingers and it sits, and you reread emails, and now you're reading too much into that email, and what is she really trying to say about
Yeah. Yes.
That's just too much time.
Yes.
And it makes you really, really sad. And we still carry that stuff to this day. To this day, on December 25th, I still call the soldier who I shared that Christmas day with.
Right.
Every single night. On Christmas night, we call, I put up a photo, and he puts up a photo of the little Christmas tree that we shared that night. We turned off all the lights, and we just had this little foot-high Christmas tree that one of my relatives had sent me. And we turned it on, and we just sat there, and we made a promise to each other. I'm going to call you. When we get home, we have to remember this moment right here for the rest of our lives. We got to remember how we're feeling right now. And we still do that. So when people think, and I, especially here in the state of Wyoming, I haven't heard a lot of people say this, but they're like, well, how long ago was the war?
Right.
Let that go. You can't.
No.
It's with me for life.
Yes. And it changed who you are for good and bad.
Fundamentally. Yeah.
I think that's a really powerful story of, being able to share that. That's something that nobody else besides that person that you share that connection with will fully understand. I mean, I can understand and be empathetic, but I can't fully understand what it felt like to be there. And so it's so important that you maintain those connections. And the fact is that veterans are going to reach out to veterans first because you already have that common bond. And so being aware of when a person is becoming unsafe is almost like a collateral duty for a veteran to take care of your brothers and sisters.
And that can be so hard.
Yes.
Because I don't want to tell you to get your butt down to the VA, but I'm at the point where I'm going to tell you, get your butt down to the VA. It gets better. But unless unless you've crawled out of that pit, because once you're out of the pit, there's still a hill to climb.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. It's not over.
It's not over yet. Because now I'm out of the pit, but I still got to get up that hill to see the valley down below on the other side. So thanks for getting me out of the pit. But now where am I?
Yeah.
Turned around, I'm looking down that pit. So that could be really difficult to do.
Yes.
Now, before I get off on one of my other rants and raves, I want to talk about this 988 number.
Yes.
Can you give me the details on that so that we can share that with our fellow veterans?
Yes. So that's the National Lifeline number. In July of this year, it changed from a 1-800 number to 988. So I think that was just to make it easier for people to remember and to call. It can serve as a mental health crisis number. So if you're not knowing who to turn to, if you're needing help immediately, call 988. When you call, there's going to be a prompt saying if you're an active service member or a veteran, press 1. Or if you're calling on the behalf of a veteran, press 1. That'll take you to specific call centers with mental health professionals who are trained in working with that population. You can call yourself or you can call for somebody else. It's really whatever you need it for, you use it.
Ladies, I want to thank you so much for coming in today. I greatly appreciate you. I greatly appreciate what you do. And I know that there's a lot of people out there who actually do as well. Thank you for reaching down into the pit and sometimes even coming down and sitting with us down there.
Yeah.
I greatly appreciate that. And happy holidays.
Happy
Thank
holidays.
you. You too. Thanks for having us.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to the YO Theater and some magic users. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust is committed to our community.
Beginning in January, we'll be donating $1,000 cash each week for 52 weeks to a qualified Sheridan County nonprofit organization, and Sheridan Media will match that with a marketing budget.
First Federal is one of 2 mutual banks in Wyoming, which means they don't pay stockholders. They reinvest your funds right back into the place we call home. Visit efirstfederal.bank for details. Community commitment, presented by
First Federal Bank and Trust
and Sheridan Media.
Member FDIC.
The owners and staff at Kane's Funeral Home would like to thank the families of Sheridan and Johnson counties for choosing Kane's and allowing them to serve you during these hard times. Kane Funeral Home makes it their mission to take the stress and uncertainty out of ceremonial services. They own and operate the only crematory in Sheridan County, so your loved one is always in their care. Kane's Funeral Home. Call 673-5837 or visit them online at canefuneral.com.
Is that pain in your shoulder keeping you up at night? Are you feeling numbness and tingling in your hand? Has your neck or back acted up coming off the mountain? Sheridan Ortho excels in the diagnosis, treatment, and surgery of the upper extremities and spine. The team of surgeons at Sheridan Ortho offer cutting-edge care in sports medicine as well, including minimally invasive procedures like hip arthroscopy and regenerative therapy. Sheridan Orthopedics serves the community with emergency care 24/7, 365 and has for over 50 years. Some same-day appointments available. Visit SheridanOrtho.com.
The holidays are here, and the Cozy Corner gift shop, just inside Sheridan Memorial Hospital, has something for everyone on your nice list. When you shop at the Cozy Corner, you're not only buying a gift, you're also giving back. We donate all of the proceeds to the Sheridan Memorial Hospital Foundation to support hospital projects. From decorations to clothing, we have all of your holiday essentials. Stop by and find the perfect gift today, and Merry Christmas from all of your Cozy Corner volunteers.
Face it, you don't want to do your own plumbing and heating work or repair. You need a professional, and that is exactly what you will get if you work with Rapp Plumbing and Heating. Being fully licensed, bonded, and insured, you can rest assured that they will take care of your repairs and maintenance in the very best way possible. Call Rapp Plumbing and Heating at 429-1196 and rest easy knowing it'll be done right. This is Dan Rapp with Rapp Plumbing and Heating. And as we like to say, if you find a leak, let me take a peek.
Want to save money this holiday season? At Legacy Diamond and Gems, they have a wide selection of beautiful jewelry all on sale up to 50% off. Their total store renovation in 2023 motivates them to sell at discounts like never before. Again, save up to 50% off in-stock items only for a limited time. Hurry into Legacy Diamond and Gems while the selection is at its best and where quality and value are always in style. Legacy Diamond and Gems, 11 North Main Street in downtown Sheridan.
The wish you could smell this ad deal. Because if you could, you'd be smelling McDonald's fries right now. And they smell like McDonald's fries.
Enjoy one of our $3.50 bundles, like 6-piece chicken McNuggets, hot and spicy McChicken, or a McDouble, each paired with small fries. And add in any size Coke or sweet tea. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by First Federal Bank and Trust. I am Floyd Whiting. The definition of magic is the use of power to influence the course of events through supernatural or mysterious forces. According to the history of magic, the first recorded magic act was by the magician Dedi, who performed his tricks in ancient Egypt around 2700 BC. Now, Dedi is also credited with the first cup and ball magic tricks. And joining us this morning is the talented Sheridan local, AJ Longhurst, also known as the Amazing AJ. He's going to perform The Amazing Meets Extraordinary along with John Rotellini.
Yep.
I get that name wrong every time, and I'm sorry.
It sounded very, Italian the way you said
right,
it. So
yeah. I
think it's good.
I knew the region.
Yeah.
But the magic returns. This is going to begin at 7 p.m. Thursday, December 8th. That's right. this week at the YO Theater. I love magic, and also with us, as you heard, is the incomparable executive director of the YO Theater, Aaron Butler. And Aaron, I'm going to do it. Public apology right now. I got my times mixed up. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Here we are.
But here we are.
Thank you for including us. Yeah, that's what I should be saying. Thank you for making time for us.
AJ, I've had you on before. You and I've talked about this in the past. I have not been able to actually get out and see a magic show in my life, let alone get to see yours. Why magic, AJ? Why was this the course you took?
Well, magic for me is exciting because, as you know, I also do musical theater and that kind of thing. And that kind of rehearsal is on other people's times. So when you're in a musical, you're on their schedule. With magic, you can practice anytime, anywhere, wherever you're at, and you can find an audience wherever you are as well. So the real magic for me isn't in the moves or in the sleight of hand. It's in what happens in the audience's face when they see and when they're tricked.
Yeah.
And I always try to say when I perform that I don't profess to have any special powers or anything like that.
You haven't summoned anyone.
Because it gets a little creepy. So I always make sure people understand it's a trick. Yeah. It's for entertainment. It's not, so it's just fun. It's just fun.
I'll tell you, Trevor Jackson in the booth there, he knew you were coming on today, and he told me about a performance once that stuck with him that he saw you do, where you didn't say a word. He said he didn't say a word, came out, and he said, I was watching him the whole time, and I never saw anything. And that's great, though. I mean, that's the whole experience. To see you do something amazing, mind-blowing, and then walk out of that theater going, how the heck did he do that? How long does it take? How long do you practice, say, in a given week on your skills?
It depends on what's going on that week.
Yeah, that's very true.
As much as I can. I like to take at least 30 minutes every day, whether I have time or not. I make time to practice for 30 minutes just to keep up on my skills. And then when I'm preparing for a show like this, it's usually at least an hour a day. Saturdays are a little bit longer just to make sure that I have everything down the way that I want it to be.
Is there a way that you could practice your speed, like with cards, or is that just repetitive motion, kind of the old training the hand to know while the mind is watching something else?
It's all muscle memory.
Yeah.
It's you start out slow, just like learning an instrument. You start out slow. You go for accuracy rather than speed at first. Make sure that you're doing it correctly, slowly, and then you can work up that speed. It's just like anything else. You got to make sure that that you've trained the muscles that you're using. And then something that people may not realize is that you work out before you perform as well. You do your stretches just like in a sporting event.
Oh, wow.
If you're doing card magic and everything, I've had a time where I literally got a cramp in my hand and I had to cut something out of my show because I couldn't perform it. And so you have to make sure that you're good to go. You have to rehearse even before the show to make sure that everything is working the way you want it to.
That's amazing. I never would have thought of that because your hands are moving so much. Yeah. And I've experienced a cramp in my hand that is just absolutely detrimental. So I couldn't imagine having to get up on stage, perform all of these great card tricks or whatever, and all of a sudden I can't actually get my hand to do anything that I needed it to do. Do you remember your very first performance, and what was that like?
My very first, my first somewhat public performance, I was performing for a group of friends, and I was doing this very badly done illusion where you make a card float. And it was a learning experience for me because I had lighting on behind me. And one of the persons said, "Oh, look, there's the..." And explained exactly how the trick worked. And everyone went, Oh.
You watch the balloon just deflate.
And so that was a huge lesson to me in making sure I checked my surroundings, made me look at where I was and pay attention to what was going on, because I was so focused on what my hands were doing that I wasn't focused on anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. So you realized there's a lot more to this once I get up in front of somebody.
Yeah.
So when it comes to performing on a grand scale, like at the YO Theater, are you very involved with, I want my light here, I need this here, the music's got a cue at this particular time? Like, are you kind of your own director?
Well, for this particular show with me and John, I chose my sets. He chose his sets. I know what background and lighting I want and everything. But John is the consummate professional. He has been all over the world performing, and he knows exactly what he wants, how he wants it, and he's been a good mentor and teacher to me in showing what these larger stage scale shows you can do.
Yeah.
And so the first one that we did in 2020, it was amazing to watch him talk with the technical director and just say, I want this color. I want it to fade into this. I want it to switch on this during this part of the trick. I want these lights to be directed here. And I was like, wow, this is a far cry from Birthday Living Room.
Yeah.
And the smaller things that I've done. So it was a great learning experience for me. And so we're going to be meeting with the technical director tomorrow to go over our lighting and our cues and our sound and music and everything. So,
and I do want folks to know that John was going to be with us originally, but his flight was delayed, and so now he's probably sitting on a plane somewhere at 30,000 feet on his way home. And another thing that I want folks to know is everybody aspires. Well, not everybody, but most aspire. Yes, I would love like the big marquee and the big grandeur, maybe a Vegas show, right? But you like doing the smaller shows for kids. And I can see why, because it's that wonder that you get to see just wash over their face when all of a sudden a trick goes very well, right?
Mm-hmm. It's super fun because with large scale shows, you can't see everybody. And the lights are in your eyes. And with a larger scale show, people expect larger scale illusions. And boxes that you put women into and cut them in half.
Right.
And stuff like that. That's the typical, when you think of a stage show illusion. And I like being so close to the audience that they can't miss anything that I'm doing.
Like Trevor said, where he's like, I watched him the whole time and never saw anything happen.
And that's where you see that pop in their eyes where they go, what?
Yeah.
So that's what it's about.
Now, so that's why I think street magicians are so huge. We think like David Blaine and things like that. But how amazing is that? You're walking down the street and someone's like, I'm going to show you something really cool. I want you to write your name on this card. Boom. And then all of a sudden something great happens. I think for me, yes, those big stage shows are beautiful and grand. And how did he do that? Look at that tiger. It's flying. I get it. But for me, I'm the same way. I like the closer, you're standing 2 feet away from me. And Floyd can't figure out how this was done. That's the stuff that I would love. Even just walking down the street. If I ever saw someone say, come over here, I want to try something. Cool, I want to watch it. I want to see that.
The great thing about this show that we're doing on Thursday is that we're going to have some close-up cameras. We're going to have it projected on the screen behind us.
Oh, cool.
So that we'll be able to pull the audience in just like that. So that they'll be able to see us up close. They'll be able to see every move that we make. Also, we have a streaming option for those that are not able to make it to the show. So they're going to be able to get to experience all of that close-up magic, all of the large magic, everything, right from sitting in their own homes.
That's amazing. That's going to be a fantastic show. Once again, folks, Amazing meets extraordinary. The magic returns. That's going to happen 7 p.m. Thursday, December 8th at the YO Theater. Aaron, real fast, if I can't make it to the YO, I want to stream this. What do I got to do?
Yeah, just go to the website, yotheater.com, and go to the link, of course. So you'll see the thing that says buy tickets. That'll take you to purchase the physical tickets. Right underneath that is a link for the streaming tickets. So just click on that. You'll receive an email that has a code, and then you just go to the website and put that in, and you can watch from home.
2 amazing performers. They're going to amaze you a little bit more Thursday, December 8th, and they're local. These guys are from Sheridan, which makes it even better. AJ, I do have a question before I let you go. Can you tell me, and I've only got about a minute and a half left, when the trick went really bad?
Okay, a couple of years ago, I was performing for the Miss Wyoming Outstanding Teen competition, doing a fundraiser right over at the Carriage House. And I was doing a rope trick, and I've got this whole dialogue while I'm sitting there cutting up this rope. And obviously I cut it into a bunch of pieces, and then it all comes back into one. Well, I realize that I'm blabbering so much that I've cut the rope in the wrong place.
Oh, no.
And there is no way this is going to go back together. So I look down and I look at it and I realize, and I finish my story just while holding the rope. And then I say, I think that's enough rope tricks. Let's go for a card trick. And I stuck it in my pocket and just went on. And the people in the audience came up afterward and said, you know, my favorite part was that whole rope thing. That was hilarious. The way that you were just like, I don't want to do this.
Saved it with the comedy chops. Saved it with the comedy chops. AJ, Aaron, thank you both so much for being on the show this morning.
Thank you.
All right, you've been listening to Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.
Federal Bank and Trust is excited to announce the First Federal Community Commitment Program.
Each week for 52 weeks starting in January, First Federal will select a Sheridan County nonprofit who will receive $1,000 in cash, plus Sheridan Media will match that with a marketing budget.
You can find an entry form at any First Federal Bank location or online at efirstfederal.bank. If you've received a donation from First Federal in the last 3 years, you're automatically entered into the drawing.
Community Commitment, presented by
First Federal Bank and Trust
and Sheridan Media.
Member FDIC.
It's a black tie affair. The inaugural New Year's Eve Gala at the Caliph Shrine in downtown Sheridan. It's not your average New Year's Eve party. Pull out the tux and the evening gown for this one. The evening begins with drinks and a prime rib dinner at 6 p.m. while enjoying the big band swing sounds of the Hot Tomatoes, Denver's premier dance orchestra, playing from 6 to 9.